Most people walk past their backyard every single day, not realizing they're sitting on something that could actually generate income. And here's the part most people don't realize. Some of the highest margin crops in the world don't come from massive farms. They come from small, controlled spaces, sometimes no bigger than a few trays. This isn't gardening. This is small-scale income strategy. Right now, there are people growing plants that are sold before they're even fully harvested. One of them grows in under 7 days. Another sells at premium prices in local markets. And one is quietly used by restaurants every single day with constant demand. And yet, most homeowners completely overlook this. They assume you need land, equipment, experience. You don't. You just need to understand what actually sells. Because once you see this the right way, your backyard stops being empty space and starts looking like an opportunity. And what I'm about to show you might completely change how you think about unused space forever. But here's the reality most videos won't tell you. This isn't passive income. It's simple. It's practical. And if you choose the right crops and understand the demand behind them, it can realistically help you generate extra income from something you already have. So the question is, are you using your space or ignoring it? Right now, most people are feeling the same pressure. Costs keep rising, but income doesn't move at the same pace. And because of that, almost everyone relies on a single income stream. One job, one source, one system. That's the risk. Because the moment that slows down, everything feels tight. At the same time, there's an asset sitting right outside most homes, completely ignored: the backyard. Not because it has no value, but because most people don't know how to use it. And this is where things shift. Small-scale growers are already generating consistent side income, not because they have more land, but because they've chosen the right crops. That's the difference. It's not about growing more. It's about growing smarter. Because the market doesn't reward effort, it rewards demand. Restaurants constantly need fresh, local produce, not in bulk, but consistently. Microgreens, for example, can grow in as little as 7 to 21 days, making them one of the fastest turnaround crops. Garlic, on the other hand, takes longer, but it stores well and often sells at premium prices, especially in local markets. And herbs? They're used daily, which means customers don't just buy once. They come back again and again, so the demand is already there. But here's the part most people miss. This is where most beginners fail. They focus on growing but never think about selling. They produce something and then struggle to find buyers. That's not a growing problem. That's a strategy problem. Because if you ignore demand, even the best crop won't make you money. This isn't about hype. It's about understanding what people are already buying and positioning yourself to supply it in a simple, practical way. Once you see that, everything changes. These 10 plants aren't random. They're selected based on real demand, real buyers, and real-world income potential. We're starting with the simplest options, the ones almost anyone can begin with, and then moving toward the ones that have serious earning potential if done right. So don't skip ahead. Because number 10 might look basic, but it plays a bigger role than most people expect. And the last 3? That's where things start to shift from extra cash to something much more scalable. As we go through this, you'll start noticing a pattern: what sells, why it sells, and how small spaces can actually outperform larger setups when done correctly. And halfway through, I'll show you where most people go wrong, so you don't make the same mistake. Stay with me, because one of these can completely change how you start looking at your space. Number 10, seedlings. Seedlings, also known as starter plants, are one of the easiest entry points into this space, and most people overlook them completely. Instead of growing full crops, you're selling young plants that are already started, and people pay for that convenience. Every spring, demand spikes. Homeowners, gardeners, even beginners, many don't want to deal with seeds, failed germination, or wasted time. They'd rather buy something ready to grow. That's the opportunity. You can grow these in small trays, indoors, or in a backyard setup with minimal equipment. Low cost, low complexity. But here's the part most people miss. You're not selling plants, you're selling time saved. And that's exactly why people keep buying. But this is just the beginning. Number 9, salad greens. Salad greens are one of the fastest moving crops you can grow, and that's exactly why they work. We're talking about lettuce, arugula, mixed greens, things people eat every single day. Not occasionally, daily. That creates constant demand. They grow quickly, often ready to harvest in a few weeks, and can be replanted in cycles. Small space, steady output. Local buyers, especially health-conscious customers, prefer fresh greens over store-bought options that have been sitting for days. So the advantage isn't just growing, it's freshness. And here's the catch most people miss. Because it's common, people assume it's not profitable. But when it's fresh, local, and consistent, it sells faster than expected. And we're still just getting started. Number 8, herbs. Herbs are where things start to shift from occasional sales to repeat income. Basil, mint, rosemary, cilantro, these aren't one-time purchases. People use them constantly, which means they come back again and again. That's built-in demand. And restaurants? They rely on fresh herbs daily, not weekly, daily, which creates a steady buying cycle if you can supply consistently. The advantage here is space. You don't need a large setup. Small pots, trays, even a compact backyard can produce high-value output. But here's what most people don't realize. You're not competing on volume, you're competing on freshness. And fresh always wins locally. This is where small space starts turning into real opportunity. Now we're moving out of the small, steady category and into plants that start pushing toward real income potential. Up to this point, you've seen how simple setups can generate consistent sales. But this is where most people either step up or stay stuck. Because the next few plants aren't just easy to grow. They tap into higher demand, better pricing, and stronger positioning in the market. And if you understand how to use them correctly, this is where things start to change. Number 7, strawberries. Strawberries have one advantage most crops don't. People don't just buy them, they're drawn to them. Fresh, locally grown strawberries sell at a premium because taste matters. Store-bought options often lack flavor, and customers know the difference. That creates a clear gap in the market. They can be grown in containers, raised beds, or small backyard rows, making them accessible even in limited space. But here's where the real opportunity is. You're not selling strawberries, you're selling freshness people can actually taste. And when customers experience that difference, price becomes less of a barrier. That's why locally grown strawberries often outperform expectations. Number 6, specialty peppers. Specialty peppers are where differentiation starts working in your favor. Most people grow the same common varieties, which means they compete on price. But unique peppers, heirloom, mini sweet, or specific hot varieties attract a completely different kind of buyer. People actively look for them. Home cooks, food enthusiasts, even small restaurants want something different, something they can't easily find in stores. That creates a niche market, and niche markets are less crowded. You can grow them in containers or small backyard spaces without needing large-scale setups. But here's the shift most people miss. The more unique your product is, the less you compete, and the more control you have over pricing. And that's where things start separating from basic growing into strategy. This is where most backyard growers get it wrong. They grow what everyone else is already growing. Same crops, same approach, same crowded space. And then they wonder why nothing sells the way they expected. Because when supply is everywhere, price drops, attention drops, and your effort gets lost in the noise. The mistake isn't growing. It's growing the wrong thing. The moment you shift from common to strategic, everything changes. Number 5, ginger. Ginger is one of those crops that doesn't rely on trends because demand is always there. It's used in everyday cooking, health routines, and even home remedies, which means it moves across multiple markets without effort. That consistency matters. It can be grown in containers or small backyard setups, especially in warmer conditions, making it accessible without large space. But here's what most people overlook. Because it's common in use, they assume it's not valuable to grow. In reality, steady demand creates steady movement, and that's what turns a simple crop into a reliable income source. This is where consistency starts becoming an advantage. Wait until you see the next 3, because this is where everything shifts. Up to now, you've seen steady, practical options. But the next ones? These are the ones people quietly build real income around. Higher value, stronger demand, more leverage. And this is exactly where most people hesitate, which is why they never get to this level. Number 4, lavender. Lavender is where a simple plant turns into multiple income streams. You're not just growing lavender, you're creating products. Dried bundles, essential oils, soaps, even small decorative items, all built from the same crop. That's value-added income, and that's where margins start increasing. It can be grown in small backyard spaces, requires relatively low maintenance once established, and has strong appeal in wellness and lifestyle markets. But here's the shift most people miss. The real money isn't always in the raw product, it's in what you turn it into. And that's what separates basic growers from people building something bigger. Number 3. Mushrooms. Mushrooms are where space stops being a limitation and becomes an advantage. They don't need sunlight, large land, or traditional setups. You can grow them indoors in controlled environments using shells or small areas. That changes everything, because now production isn't tied to your backyard size, it's tied to how efficiently you use space. And the demand? Restaurants and niche buyers actively look for fresh varieties like oyster or shiitake, often willing to pay premium prices. But here's where most people hesitate. It feels unfamiliar, slightly more technical, different from traditional growing. And that hesitation is exactly why fewer people do it, which is why those who do face less competition and unlock higher value opportunities. This is where many people pause, overthink, and pull back. It feels unfamiliar, slightly outside their comfort zone, and that hesitation, that's exactly where the opportunity gets filtered out. Because while most people are waiting to feel ready, others move in, learn the process, and take the space. Not because it's easy, but because they didn't stop at uncertainty. And that's the difference between watching opportunities and actually stepping into them. Number 2, garlic. Garlic looks simple, but that's exactly why people underestimate it. You plant it once, let it grow, and compared to most crops, it demands very little day-to-day effort. No constant replanting, no complicated setup. But here's where it changes. Certain varieties, especially gourmet types, sell at noticeably higher prices in local markets. People aren't just buying garlic, they're buying quality and flavor they can't get from store shelves. And because it stores well, you're not under pressure to sell immediately. You choose the timing. That control matters. The mistake most people make? They treat garlic like a basic crop, when in reality, it behaves like a premium product when positioned correctly. And once you see that, you stop thinking small. Number 1. Microgreens. Microgreens are where speed changes the game completely. These aren't traditional crops. They're grown, harvested, and ready to sell in as little as 7 to 21 days. That means faster cycles, faster turnover, and more frequent selling opportunities. And the demand? Restaurants actively look for them. Not occasionally, consistently. They use them for presentation, flavor, and freshness, which keeps demand steady. But here's what makes this different. This is one of the few crops where small space can outperform expectations. You can grow them in trays, indoors, without needing land or complex setups. And once you understand the rhythm, plant true, harvest, sell, so repeat. It becomes a system, not just a plant. And that's why many people see this as the closest thing to a rapid cycle income opportunity, when done right. If you're starting to see how this works, imagine not relying on just one of these, but combining 2 or 3 strategically. That's where things start to multiply. Because this isn't theory, people are already doing this, quietly building small income streams from limited space. And the difference isn't resources. It's recognizing the opportunity and actually acting on it. Now step back and look at the pattern forming between microgreens, mushrooms, and garlic. These aren't just plants, they're systems. Each one operates differently, but they all solve the same problem: consistent demand with efficient use of space. Microgreens bring speed, fast cycles, quick turnaround, constant selling opportunities. You're not waiting months, you're moving in weeks. Mushrooms bring control, indoor growing, stack production, high-value buyers. You're not dependent on seasons, you create your own environment. Garlic brings stability, low effort, long storage, premium positioning. You're not rushed, you decide when and how to sell. Fast, reliable, scalable. That's the shift. And when you start combining these, something changes. You're no longer thinking in terms of one plant, one sale. You're building a flow. Harvest here, sell there, replant, repeat. Different timelines, working together. That's how small setups start producing consistent results. But here's the part most people avoid facing. The longer you ignore opportunities like this, the longer you delay potential income sitting right in front of you. Not because it's complicated, but because it requires a decision to start. And once you see these as systems, not just plants, you stop thinking about space and start thinking about output. Opportunities aren't rare, awareness is. What you've seen isn't complicated, it's just overlooked. The same backyard most people ignore, can be turned into something productive when you approach it with the right strategy. It's not about having more land. It's about using what you already have more intelligently. Because once you focus on crops with real demand and understand how they actually move in the market, small space stops being a limitation. It becomes leverage. And that's the shift. You're no longer thinking like a hobby gardener. You're thinking like someone who sees value where others don't. That awareness alone puts you ahead of most homeowners, because while others wait for better conditions, you start with what you already have. And that's where control comes from. Confidence follows that, then action. And in the end, it comes down to one simple truth. You don't need more space. You need better decisions. Start with one. Don't overcomplicate it. Pick a single plant, test it, and learn how the process works from start to sale. Because clarity comes from doing, not overthinking. And once you begin, you'll see what's possible. So which one stands out to you the most?